I'd like to call over the regular meeting of the Perry Municipal Authority, November 1st, 2021 at 6:20 p.m. Roll call, please.
Wines. Here. White.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Dilbeck. Here. Bond.
Here.
Coldarn.
Here.
Stroller.
Here. I do declare a quorum. If you'll join me in invocation real quick. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to join here this evening. Thank you for the opportunity to do the business. Thank you for allowing the people of the city of Perry to believe in us to conduct this meeting on their behalf. And whatever we do, Lord, I just ask that it's in line with what you have in the wishes of Perry, and all the things we do gratify you. Pray this through your Son's name. Amen. Item 1, the consent agenda. One item.
Motion to approve. Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Coldarn.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 4, comments from those assembled pertaining to the items on the PMA agenda. Item 5, proclamation, commendation, reports, inquiries by the governing body. Item 6, discuss amendments to the city PMA purchasing manual. I think we pretty much went all through that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Coldarn.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 7, approve PMA 2022 regular meeting schedule. So schedule in your packet.
Motion to approve the regular meeting schedule 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Wines.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Coldarn.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 8, approve PMA 2022 holiday schedule.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Wines.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Coldarn.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 9, any new business for the PMA this evening? Item 10, motion adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Coldarn.
Yes.
And Stroller.
I'd like to call over the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Perry, November 1st, 2021, 6:23. Roll call, please.
Wines.
Here.
White.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Dilbeck.
Here.
Bond.
Here.
Coldarn.
Here.
Stroller.
Here. Do declare a quorum. The consent agenda, a couple items.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Coldarn.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Comments from those assembled pertaining to items on the city agenda? Number 5, proclamation, accommodations, reports, and inquiries by the governing body. I do want to bring up one subject because it has become a little bit public. There's been a lot of talk, and I've talked to Larry about this some, but I wanted to get it out in the public. What is the deal with our lights on Fur? I've talked to you about this. Nothing's getting done.
I talked with Brian Wheatley last week, and he says he has a plan. One of the things he's waiting for is Randy Parrish to get back in town and finish some of his projects.
Do you have a time frame?
Pardon?
Do we have a time frame on when he thinks he can get to it?
No, he did not give me that. I did ask for that. He did not.
Okay, I just wanna know we're continuing to work on it, because I mean, there's at least 15 or 20 lights out everywhere. Just on Fur.
Yeah.
And I believe myself that we have to light Fur up, I mean, major, light it up.
I agree with you.
And I've actually talked to Bryce a little bit about trying to do something on I-35. I know that's a state, but there's other towns that have their I-35 exits lit up. You'll get off where it's light.
Well, according to Brian, once you get on the on-off ramp, it becomes a city park. So I would love to do that too.
Well-
Put 2 on each.
Okay, well, I'm talking about a half a mile south of 186 to a half a mile north of 185. Or vice versa, anyway, 85, 86. If you go to Guthrie and you go to 51 was a different situation, but you go to Blackwell, those exits are lit up.
But when you come in Fern, you're coming into our city and the lights are off, it makes it look like we don't care about our town.
Yep.
I agree.
And that's what really bothers me, and sometimes a lot of times I drive out to get my daughter late at, about 9:30 or 10 at night, and it just makes my heart sick to see them all off.
Well, we just had a major sidewalk project out there, and you can't see to walk down the sidewalk.
Right.
It gets
Some-
dark at 5:30.
Huh?
I mean, and it gets dark early. I mean, that was all the complaints on Facebook here recently, is it's getting dark so early, and it's 5:30, and you get off the exit, and it's dark all the way. I mean, there's no lights. It's very dark out there.
Yeah.
So, I agree. We talked about that being a priority, but we need to at least be able to tell people a timing of some sort instead of just, we're working on it.
I forgot, is the problem the wiring got cut during the?
Yeah, the sidewalk project. It's, the way I understand, it's kind of, whose responsibility was it?
Right.
Did we not locate them? Did they not know where they were at? They cut them? It just seems like nobody knows. So,
What was that about licensed, bonded, and insured?
yeah, but that's true, but they're saying that we didn't mark the lines. So,
Yeah, that's what the argument is, but, even to know what the claim is, we need to know, we need to
What's
fix
wrong?
them and have a, and have an amount.
Or to be able to prove that it was really cut. I mean, we don't.
Well, they were cut, I mean, the lights
Just hold
work,
it.
they came through, the lights don't work, I mean,
Well, they knocked over poles.
yeah, there's a couple holes missing too.
That's true
So.
too.
the,
Did we get our money back on that? Did they put the
No.
poles back up?
My problem was with the state inspection too. They inspected it and said, you're good to go. Well, what about our lights? You know? So, anyway, okay, I'll just move on. We'll be there all night. Item 6, consider alleged vacancy of Mike Morrill from his seat as a member of the Perry City Council. Make determination with respect to such vacancy. In our last meeting, we made the request to Mike to come visit with us tonight and plead his case. He's unable to do that for medical reasons.
My understanding is he will be released this week.
So who knows? I mean, I'm saying, but the problem is, we have to appoint someone next meeting at the very least. Because if not, we'll have to push into an election. I mean, we're headed up to our 60 days if we're not careful. So,
if we don't have a special meeting, our meeting in December is the 6th, that's too late. It's actually, we'll bring that up on Josh Bell's, it's too late for that one too, so, be thinking about who you wanna who you want to appoint at the next meeting, or we'd have to have a special meeting, or we'd put it up for election. Now, there is a provision that says, but if the election is within, I haven't looked at the provision, if the election is within 120 days, there's some language there, but in just the straight analysis of you have to appoint within 60 days of the vacancy, your opportunity in not calling a special meeting in both vacancies is your next meeting.
I just want the council to be aware, I hope Mike can come back and talk to us.
That's what I'm.
But if not, we have to appoint somebody next meeting.
Yeah, I'd just like to give him the opportunity if he's able. But we could handle both of those on the next meeting.
Yes,
At the same-
it'll be on the agenda. Yes,
Right.
all of it will be on the agenda for the next meeting if you don't make an appointment today on either of those.
Just want to hold over for another meeting? I'm good with that if you guys
I would
are,
like to.
whatever you want to do.
I would like to,
Hmm?
I would like to.
yes.
Do
Motion,
we not have an appointment
Go ahead,
for
Derek.
Josh Bell's seat yet?
No.
motion to table this until the next meeting.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. We will skip over item 7 then. Oh, no. I was already, Amber, you're laughing. I already asked if I had to read it again. We've already read this once tonight.
Oh, no.
Consider approval of ordinance number 2021-18 of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, amending Chapter 7, Article 1 of the Perry Municipal Code 2020 pertaining to the codification of municipality ordinance, municipal ordinance of certain amendments to the state law pertaining to the Public Competitive Bidding Act, the related matters by amending Section 7-109 entitled Purchase and Effectiveness by amendment of Section 7-110, Sections E and F, increasing the contract amount required by the certain contract subject to the act must be bid by the amendment of Section 7-111 entitled Oklahoma Public Competitive Bidding Act, Sections A, B, C, D, F, and O, increasing from $50,000 to $100,000, or any construction management trade, contract, or subcontract as defined by Title 61, Section 102.5, the Oklahoma statutes as amended in excess of $50,000 subject to be bid in accordance with the act by the amendment of Section 7-113, subsection A, increasing to $100,000, and the contract subject to the formal contract procedures by the amendment of Section 7-116, increasing the amount of emergency purchases from $75,000 to $100,050 that can be authorized by the city manager without city council approval by the amendment of Section 7-117, subsection A, increasing the bid amount of professional services contracts from $50,000 to $100,000, providing for repealer savings, codification, and severability effective date, and declaring emergency. This is exactly what we talked about, right, guys?
Yes.
In our special meeting.
Motion to approve ordinance 2021-18.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Thank you, council.
The
Motion,
motion.
Oh, motion
of
of
emergency
emergency,
clause.
second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 9, discuss amendments to the city PMA purchasing manual. Same thing we did on the PMA side, we'll go.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes, with the note that this is emergency spending like the others are emergency. It didn't say it on this agenda item like it did in the other one.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Is there, it doesn't say, but is there an emergency clause on that one?
No.
No. Item 10, approval of city management policy with respect to the expenditures of public resources for code enforcement and general aesthetics of the city of Perry, Oklahoma. Who's gonna handle this? Larry, Bryce?
Brian?
So sorry, I thought I dropped something. We brought this to you guys several months back, and it was tabled. But the idea being that if somebody purchased a property, I think at the time we had said that if it was a dilapidated property, they purchase it, demolish it, and then rebuild. Once we issue a certificate of occupancy, we would look at reimbursing them for some of the rollout or the demolition cost in the form of the roll-offs. Just for the city's way of putting skin in the game, for us to try and get people to invest in some of the properties that it'll save us money in the long run for taking down, I guess is the way to say it. But that's just kind of the brief background on that. Staff recommendation is whatever you guys would do on that. I just ask you to consider that there's a lot of money involved whenever we go take something down and then file liens and then chase people for years, versus if somebody's interested and intrigued to come and actually acquire some of these properties on their own, and then us invest a very small fraction into that.
I believe there was a limitation on the amount of roll-offs, right? It was
Correct.
Four.
Says 4 here.
four.
For 30-yard roll-off dumpsters.
Right. And the last time we took down a house, it was $4,000 to $5,000 in-house.
And it's kind of consistent with what we received from the Malls on Trust and their spokesman about finding ways to bring homes, either renovated or homes to the community in manners which may not involve huge expenditures of dollars. What I received was that this type of thing is something they're looking for. Did you not read it that way?
Correct.
Yeah.
So, roll-offs, how does that, are you renting them for as long as the project goes? How does that work?
No, so the city wouldn't do anything until they show up to get their certificate of occupancy and present us a bill. The way we presented it would be at Larry's final discretion, and they can only go up to 4 30-yard roll-offs. So they'd give us a receipt, and if it has 12 on there, at most, we're only going to reimburse them for 4.
They have to tear down the structure, they have to remove it, they have to pay for it, they have to put a new structure on that, either by building or moving, something that's authorized. When we issue a certificate of occupancy for it, we're just gonna pay back the cost, the dumpster cost. All their costs are on them.
Right, I just didn't know if you were renting the roll-offs for the, like, I know it's only 4 of them, but is that a time period that you're renting them? Do you buy the roll-offs?
They're about $450 per
Thanks.
one roll-off.
Thanks. That's what-
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna.
right.
And we get those from Davis Sanitation.
Well, they wouldn't necessarily have to.
I was going to say, that language is not in there.
They, I mean,
They can
and
do
I'm not trying to, I'm just, we're just gonna reimburse no matter where they get the roll-off from.
Up to, but we need to have a limitation. Is it $450 or?
That's what I said, there's
What
nothing in
if,
there.
what if one roll-off's $600 and one's $450?
Right.
You know.
I think Jim Davis gives us a flat fee. Last time I checked, it was $400. That was last year, though.
But that doesn't stop me if I'm tearing down a home to call someplace in the city. I'm, by the ordinance, by the,
Right. We can put that in there if you would like.
Yeah, I did put the language in
I think
here.
there has to be a dollar amount. We can't determine where they get it, but there has to be a dollar per roll, you know what I'm saying?
That's
We
yeah,
can't
that's
say-
what I feel like is
we
missing,
can't
it's
direct
just
it. We
4.
can't direct it to David Sanitation.
Okay.
I don't think we have that right. Wouldn't that be like some bid? I don't know.
I don't know.
And also, I've been told that, or Yeah, that there was some thought of city employees buying some properties and tearing them down. Would this be a conflict of a city employee doing this? If they wanted to buy a property, invest in a property, tear it down, then they want us to repay them for their roll-off?
Well, we can't contract with city employees under Title 11, Section 8-113.
So it would not apply to a city employee?
Yeah, I'd have to see the actual, if the city employee did it, could a city employee qualify under the policy? I would need to study the application of that to Title 11, Section 8-113. And I'm not sure. My initial answer would be, no, they couldn't do it, but I would like to think about it. I can put this at the end of that policy, which is tab 10. In the second paragraph, we could say in a total amount of not to exceed, and put a number. And if you said 400, let's just put $1,600, I did put the language for 30-yard roll-off necessary for the removal. So, I mean, there's a standard there, but a total amount of not greater than $1,600.
I mean, everything's going up in life today too, you know?
Well, let's just say not greater than $400 per 30-yard roll-off. That's probably better.
Yeah. Well,
Are there other small communities that are doing this, that it's working? That it's doing this work?
Not that I'm aware of.
could it be at the rate of our providers' roll-offs? That way,
If they went up
as things go up,
or down.
does that make sense, Brian?
Yes. Yeah, let's call it the city solid waste collection and disposal contract.
Yeah,
But
Of not greater than the rate set by.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if he raised his prices? I'm not sure I agree with that, but I mean, it's all right.
Well, if not, we're gonna come back and visit this, because then, I mean, potentially you're gonna have.
Yeah, but we still have to price, I mean, this is open checkbook, I mean, he could say $800 and we're gonna pay it now.
No, it's still at your discretion.
Yeah.
It's still at the manager's
What if
discretion.
he says, pay it, then we pay $2,400?
Well,
Is Davis Sanitation, would they really do that?
Everything's going up.
Well, yeah, his costs probably are going up.
And I guess kind of my thought is we're trying to entice people to put homes here.
Well, I agree.
$2,400 versus several months of an electric bill, that we aren't getting because it's a dilapidated home. So
15, 20 grand or
Okay, we had this discussion with Russ.
do it.
How long would it take to recover $2,400 of profit?
Our profit margin is around 23%. So that totally depends upon how
How
much
much
they
the
use.
bill is?
Yeah.
Well, not to mention then if it is a dilapidated house, like you said, then it's our responsibility. We're gonna have to do something with it.
But it's also sales tax. I mean, if we have, there's a whole lot of things compounded within that factor that, to me, having a home here is better than a dilapidated home. At 16 versus 24. No, I get it. It could be 50,000. That's, but hopefully we wouldn't approve that.
The way I'm looking at it is, yeah, you're talking about, okay, for example, you just gave $2,400. Well, I'd rather have $2,400 than have the expense of tearing the place down and hauling it off. I mean, because then you're looking at 15 to 20 grand. And I don't see this happening very often unless somebody really, really wants that. Because they know they're going to be the ones responsible for doing all that.
Ponca paid $10,000 per new home coming in. I mean, that's cash paid at the time of the certificate of occupancy. So there's an example.
I mean, it's not much. It's just something that go, yeah, we're thank you for building in our town, and here's a little bit of expense for.
to answer your question, sorry, I have not heard of another community that is doing specifically this. However, there are several small communities, and the first one jumping off the page is Okmulgee. will invest money for you to repair not quite a dilapidated home, but so for paint, siding, certain things like that, that they will fundraise and contribute to that. So there is examples out there. This one would just be more unique to Perry.
Yeah, and I have cities that have downtown facade grants that give up to $4,000 for facade grants to improve downtown. There are requirements under it, but ownership and retention of improvements and all. But so this partnering up with private parties to affect improvement is great. The neat thing about this one is this one's creating new utility accounts, which is the ultimate. That's what we need to do, create new utility accounts.
I only suggest it just so we're not revisiting again in 6 months if prices increase by.
Yeah, the language I added, in a total amount of not greater than the rate set by the city's solid waste collection and disposal contract per 30-yard roll-off.
I like it.
I have a feeling our provider's gonna be one of the cheaper ones
Yeah.
around.
And if there is abuse in the future, we can revisit.
Do what?
If there is abuse in the
Yeah.
future, we can revisit then.
Will this pertain to contractors that are building homes, that are going around town buying homes?
Well,
I'm assuming it will.
it's a developer or property owner.
Okay, all right,
That's what it's tied to.
all right.
Well, and that's more the intent, the heart, once you get to it, is that these people are gonna be buying homes that have long been, they're not quite where I'd consider them like dilapidated that we're gonna go in and tear it down, but it's great that they're going to. Because in 3-4 years, that story might change, and as you said, I mean, I think the cheapest one that I've seen torn down, like from us, even when we outsourced it, was $7,600. So, what did we just say, like $1,600 versus $7,600?
Well, they're still, you're not gonna tear it down for $1,600.
Correct, that's what I mean, is, I mean, when you put them in the scales and weigh them out,
Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
you're still coming out ahead here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 730 Holly cost us almost $7,000 to take that.
Just under 8.
I'll make a motion to approve with the amendment of the maximizing, or the maximum price. Is that good enough?
Yes.
Okay, good.
No second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Good enough.
Wine,
Yes.
White,
Yes. Gosh darn it.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Sterling.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 11, appropriate $50,000 from the drainage fee account and direct MKEC to proceed with surveying and detailed plans for providing ditch improvement along 2nd Street. Mrs. Wallace said that she couldn't be with us tonight for health reasons, but she did contact me and say that she expected us to move forward with something. So, Larry, I'm assuming you've been in contact with MKC about this. You told Ms. Wallace you would. What have we found out?
If you remember, they gave us 2 options. First option was in the range between $250,000 and $500,000. $500,000 is certainly a lot more than we have in a drainage account. And option 2 was $25,000 to $50,000, and that is within our drainage fund account. So that's basically the way we need to go right now.
And was that cleaning the right-of-way behind her house? Is that what that is?
Right, it's going down the utility easement behind her house.
Okay.
So, per that discussion, there was potential issues with that and causing other drainage issues. What does that,
The biggest issue is getting gas to redo their lines and to relocate those lines. I think that once we get past the first 2 or 3 houses past her, then it flows good, so we have no issue there.
even after it tries to turn back?
Right.
Okay.
Now, we do want to make certain that we take care of the The property's down at the end of Tower.
So that this 50 does
It
include,
does not include this, no.
so it doesn't open up at the end of Tower down there, it doesn't open that up where he said number one issue is?
No, not that I remember. But it's something that we have to do, and really, part of MKEC's design is just to create a ditch back in there.
But what Derek's getting at is there's no need to do that if we don't have the appropriate money to create an outlet over there on that northwest corner or northeast corner to get the water out of the neighborhood. We're just not gonna flood those people down there
Right,
on
we're not gonna flood those folks, but
down there, so.
they didn't seem to think it was that big a deal as far as how that water flows.
I thought that was his number one concern.
thing here.
His number one concern was opening that field up down there to the northeast to get the water out.
That was issue number one, as far as I recall.
Well, the option number one included all that, because you got all that water coming down Tower. And so there's nothing to really stop it, but when you come down the easement, there's a different story there.
It all runs to there.
I just don't want to spend
It does come out.
50,000 and then
Create another problem.
we've diverted away from one, but now we got 4 others to worry about.
Check with MKAC, I mean, we can approve this 50,000, but don't act on it unless you can verify with the MKAC that's gonna solve that problem.
Okay.
Yeah, because very quickly we may have to come up with the other $450,000 that we don't have.
Mary's like, it ain't happening.
We're still.
We're in the
You're right
renovating.
about 7,500.
We're in the renovating, we might have to act upon that. Can we get $1,600 back on ours?
What did I say about 7,500?
We're talking about the purchasing policy.
Motion to approve, motion to not approve. Item 11. What do you want to do, council?
I'm kind of worried, like other people said, that this kind of sounds like a Band-Aid that may not actually help.
Well, it says the level of control at the ditch outfall into Maple, which means it's gonna run right into that corner. And it's already a pond down there, and I really,
I'm sorry, I thought you were going, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
We can approve this with an amendment to that we find out if that power outlet's all right. It's the only way we'll approve it. So we have to make an amendment to the motion. Or we can wait for Larry and bring it back 2 weeks like we continue to do.
Well, that might be the better action.
Yeah, and that's,
You know, I talked to Keith Ayotte, and, you know, this was the option. I mean, I'm the one that talked to him about it. He seemed to indicate that this could work, but you've all made me very concerned now. I mean, I remember what he said too, and I would like have him re-say it. And, you know, he's the one that's got to design it and make sure that it finds its way to an outlet, because any improvement is just going to speed the water in the direction that it's going. Now, he did say, you know, this will assist, but this isn't going to completely solve the problem. I mean, it's like I've said, it all has to do with what type of rain event we're getting.
Right.
I mean, it all depends, but, you know, standard rain events, 5-year rain events, I mean, he seemed to indicate that this would work, you know, but, you know, a 100-year rain event or, you know, something significant, you know, this is probably not the solution, but it does provide some assistance.
Could we be here at the next meeting to just clarify any questions? that
Sure.
we-
And certainly I'll check with that.
'Cause I think we would all, I mean, we do have this in our budget. We all want to take care of
Yeah.
this problem.
Mhm.
I just don't, I mean, all of us, I think we need to hear it from him one more time that we really are taking care of a problem and not very quickly going to have a substantial issue on our hands that more than we already have that we aren't managing very well, so.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes out of that outlet and doesn't turn, and it's got so much speed, it just continues east, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
We want to take care of what we need to take care of, but I think we're all nervous about, is this really taking care of that issue?
I make a motion we continue this to the next meeting.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Can I ask, I mean, are we going to try to have them back here or just have an answer back from them? I'd rather have them back
He said
here
he's
if
gonna try to
possible.
get-
Do we need
Okay.
that in the motion?
Yeah, that's,
Sure. You want to add that, Gloria, to have MKEC keep AOT back here at the continued meeting?
Would you be okay with adding that to your
Or are
motion?
you
Yeah,
okay with
I'm
adding?
okay with that now.
Okay.
Guess with my, if I get it.
I need to second that again.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Lyons,
yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 12, consider approval of ordinance number 2021-20 of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, amending Chapter 5 and Chapter 13 of the Perry Municipal Code 2020, updating the codes to the state adopted versions, providing for amendment to Section 5-101, 5-102, adopting the International Building Code 218 edition, providing for amendment of Section 5-111, adopting the International Existing Building Code 218 edition, providing for amendment to Section 5201, adopting the International Plumbing Code 218 edition, 2018 edition, providing for the amendment of Section 5-302, adopting the National Electric Code 2017 edition, providing for the amendment of Section 5-401, adopting the International Mechanical Code 2018 edition, for the amendment of Sections 5-601, adopting the International Fuel Gas Code 2018 edition, providing for the amendment of Section 13101, adopting the International Fire Code 2018 edition, providing for the repeal or saving codification of severability penalty and declaring emergency. Bryce?
Matt Biswell's here.
Oh, okay.
Let's hear from someone else.
Good evening.
Sir?
So, State of Oklahoma put together probably 10, 12 years ago what they call the Oklahoma Uniform Building Code Commission. And the Oklahoma Uniform Building Code Commission makes determination and recommendations to the state legislature on codes for the entire state of Oklahoma. And for some time now, they've made recommendations to the legislature, and the legislature has subsequently adopted the ICC codes, International Code Council codes that they put out. And they usually update, we're usually 3 years behind. So we're 2015 now, and going up to 2018, and then as soon as the state, they adopted these back in September, on September 14th, with the exception of the International Residential Code. And the International Residential Code is usually behind the rest of them, because in the state of Oklahoma, they usually go back and forth on energy codes and putting fire suppression systems in residences. And so far, those two things have been omitted from the previous codes. We'll see what happens this cycle. So, September 14th, the state legislature put into effect the adoption of the 2018 codes as the minimum codes for the state of Oklahoma. The statute dictates that every municipality will follow these codes. We can do greater, but not less. So that's over here. So we probably won't have to do this again for another 3 years. If history repeats itself.
Any questions for Matt?
On the recommendation of Perry Fire Marshal Matt Bisbell, I recommend that we make a motion to approve this.
Second.
Thank you.
Was there a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown, Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Coldiron,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Motion on the emergency, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Wines, yes. White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Coldiron,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yep. Thank you. Item 13, appointment of a new member to the Board of Adjustments to fill the unexpired term of Jenny Wade. I've talked to Michelle Taylor, and she's willing to do that. So that would be my appointment with your approval.
Second. Is that a motion?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'll second your
Yeah,
motion, if
okay.
that's what it was.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Coldiron,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 14, consider acceptance of a quitclaim deed to real property and structures currently used by the Street Department of Charles Machine Works Incorporated and Oklahoma Corporation. This piece of property is down south where our street department is, and they've kind of divided that piece of property in two, and we get to use half of it as the street department, and Charles Machine Works, or Ditchwood, whatever it's called, is going to retain the other half of the lot. So this is us accepting the quitclaim deed to that piece of property.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Coldiron,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Consider appointment of a member to the Perry Planning Commission. Randy Parrish has resigned from the Planning Commission. He's a busy guy, and so he is resigned. I just found out about this. So I will be nominating someone else to the City Council, probably next meeting. Item 16, consider appointment of a council person to the Perry City Council. This is for Josh Bell's seat, and we already discussed that it would be on the next agenda.
Make a motion to table the next meeting.
Okay,
Second.
roll call please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Coldiron,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 17, consider approval of ordinance number 2021-19 of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma pertaining to Chapter 8, Article 5, Section 8-501 of the Perry Municipal Code 2020, entitled Definitions, providing that structures which have been boarded and secured for the more than 6 months rather than 18 months can be considered dilapidated buildings, providing for repeater savings, codification, several building effective date, and declaring an emergency. Last meeting, we had this item on the agenda. There were some items that we were concerned about, some discussion we wanted to have. So it was put back on the agenda again. Do you know if we found out if this applies to buildings just boarded up like the convenience store was? What do we find out about?
Unless Bryce has a different definition, when we declare a building dilapidated, you have several different avenues of action that you can take. All this means is that if you leave a structure completely boarded up for 6 months, or won't even say completely boarded, let's say there's 10 windows and at the end of 6 months, 9 are still boarded up, we can declare it dilapidated, which means We could, in the extreme stances or circumstances, go tear it down. Probably wouldn't on the one that we're all talking about, but a court action could be taken, where a judge would either give them an order to say, remove the boards, or, here's your fine. At least in the things that I've read at the state statute, those are your options.
Would it include the building across from John Devine Hall, formerly a little convenience store?
So that's actually it's not considered dilapidated for this section. It's just a vacant structure that's been neglected. But as I understand, that building is in the process of changing ownership. So once something changes ownership, basically the clock starts over.
But that building's not boarded up. so it
Correct,
wouldn't apply to this.
correct.
Oh, I was thinking-
It has its own set of issues, but the boarding and securing part would not be it.
So basically what you're saying, any building that someone comes and completely boards up, right?
Yep. This is sort of applying to that, though. If we found that building were unsecured and the city defines it to be dilapidated, one of the actions that we can remedy, or one of the remedies that we can pursue, is to go and board it up. But at that 6-month period, if they don't do something with it, well, then it's kind of back to what I just said at first.
That building I condemned it last week.
What'd you say, Matt? I'm
I said
sorry.
I condemned the building across from John Vine last week,
Okay.
and had the building owner secured. So it's secure now, as of this morning.
Matt, could you come up here just a second?
Yes.
What grounds,
Well, so we found out that the building was unsecured, meaning that people being able to get in and out. Went in there, and there were transients sleeping in there, cigarette butts everywhere, beer cans, liquor bottles. And concern from the fire department standpoint is they're gonna go in there, it's gonna be winter time, they're gonna start a fire, and they're gonna burn the building down and possibly injure themselves or others in the process.
I agree.
So I condemned it, posted it, got a hold of the building owner, and required him to secure it, which he has done.
he has?
He has, yes.
Okay. Any more questions, council? Bryce, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I agree with Brian.
Okay. What would you like to do, council?
Bill, you had a lot of questions on it. Did it answer, did that?
Yeah, I think it, I was just wondering if it's a perfectly good building and they board them up. And we don't want boarded up buildings in our town. So if this helps get it unboarded, just the threat of it, I'm fine with that.
Brian, prior to it being 18 months, it was 36 months, was it not?
Correct.
Yeah, we changed that.
This is a great step forward on doing that.
Correct.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance number 2021-19.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Any new business that needs to come before the council?
Emergency.
Oh, emergency, motion emergency, thank you.
So much.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Any new business that needs to come before the council this evening? Hearing none, are we going into executive session?
No, I don't believe we need to. I will tell you that I'm in the process of getting written documents on 2 of these. I thought I'd have them by today, and so I could share them with you, but I didn't get them today.
You said there was 3 left, right?
Yeah, and then the other one, we had communication all last week, and he said that he'd get us an offer. We also have the state participating. They're offering to have meetings with us if anybody has any questions. And we're trying to get some dates when they can have some meetings to finalize these. So, but I don't have anything new, other than that. And I want to bring you some documents with some recommendations.
Okay,
And I make the motion, we adjourn.
And I'll second that.
roll call please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.